So you might be wondering, why is Bradford wearing a Marietta Pride t-shirt? Well, I'll tell you why. I went to Marietta High School, and I'm very proud of that heritage. The Blue Devils were my team when I was a teenager. And so whether it was a swim meet, a cross-country meet, a track meet, a football game on a Friday night, or any other sporting event, I loved my school. I loved what it meant. And also, I'm staying at my parents' house right now because we're working virtually again. Hashtag COVID. Screw COVID. We hate it. But it's still okay because I have a job, thankfully. But that's why I haven't worn the shirt in a minute. There we go. Today, I'm going to be doing, you guessed it, another supernatural video. This time, it's a character examination on our dear feathered friend, Clarence Feathers Unicorn, more commonly known as Cass or Castiel, the awkward, wayward angel that so many of us fans have come to love over the years. Castiel was first introduced to the story in season 4 when he was revealed to be the creature that pulled Dean Winchester out of hell from serving his sentence after selling his soul. Some quick things about Castiel. It was only supposed to be on the show for originally 6 episodes, but then fan response was so positive towards him, he ended up staying on for an entire season, eventually 2 seasons, 3 seasons, and what later became the rest of the series. He is the character with the third most amount of screen time behind Sam and Dean, and also not my favorite. I like Castiel a lot. There are some things I don't like about him, but I still think he's a decent character with a lot of complexity, nuance, and subversion. So, that being said, I'm going to get started. I'm going to go through Castiel's characteristics, strengths, weaknesses, and his best arcs to determine how good of a character Castiel is in the end. Some of the characteristics that really stand out about him are that he's powerful, he's literally an angel, he's strong, he's impulsive, apathetic at points, but he's also very, 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 very conflicted as he spends more time with Sam and Dean. He also is kind and loyal and caring towards his friends, and later takes on a very interesting father figure role to my guy Jack Klein, the Nephilim. Like I said, Castiel's strengths are that he's loyal, even though he oftentimes is very conflicted between his roles as an angel of heaven and a friend of Dean's, and by extension Sam's. You really start to see that on display the moment or the season he comes into the story. He comes into the story unquestioning, unwavering in his loyalty to heaven. But the more he gets to know Dean and the powerful force that is Dean Winchester, Cass becomes much more conflicted and eventually rebels against heaven because he realizes that they are not carrying out God's will on the show. Whether or not that will was good, you find out in later on seasons. That conflicts with my personal beliefs a little bit, but that's fine. Anyways, Castiel is also a great fighter. He's extremely gifted in multiple different fighting styles, matched with his heavenly skill set and power base. He's remorseful when he makes mistakes. From seasons 7 to 10, I think, he's on a redemption arc. He's trying to make up for the mistakes that he's made. He has a strong conscience. And while that is a good thing, it has led him astray and given him blind spots out the wazoo. He has massive angelic powers. And he becomes a pacifist. He takes the side of wanting to rebuild heaven, wanting to rebuild his people so that they can serve mankind. Castiel always has a good heart. He's well-intentioned, well-meaning, and feels for those whom he loves, which you see time and time again. However, that leads into some of his weaknesses. Like I said, he has extreme tunnel vision. He's arrogant, very arrogant at points, ruthless when he sees a moral absolute that Sam and Dean might see as a little bit more nuanced. He's extremely naive, and that adds a lot of comedy to the show and a lot of comedy between the brothers, Jack, Crowley, Mary, Rowena, and a few other characters that really, really jive well with Cass over the course of the show. And eventually he goes insane. Now, all of those are flip sides to his strengths and his characteristics in a lot of cases, because he learns about the importance of agency and family, like I've said in previous videos. And he learns all of that because of Dean. Dean is like I said, force of nature that is hard to reckon with, even when he's wrong. But in many cases, Dean is right. And he teaches Castiel to learn from those mistakes and to pay dividends where it is necessary. Why that is important is because he is a servant of heaven and ultimately a servant of man. And some of his best arcs that he has throughout the series, I picked 3 just for time's sake. Rebelling against heaven, his overall arc between seasons 4 and 5, when he's first introduced, he goes from, I am a toy soldier, I follow the rules like a stick in the mud, to being, heaven isn't serving its purpose. I'm going to go serve with the Winchesters and help them beat the devil. That was one of his best arcs, because he learns about the importance of making your own choices and having the ability to make your own choices. That leads into the next best arc, which after a recent rewatch of season 6, I realized how well his story stood up and has aged. In season 6, after the fallout from the apocalypse and Lucifer being slammed back in the cage, heaven and hell are in chaos. The archangels are wanting to retake control of heaven and restart the apocalypse. Castiel, after all the development he's gone through, says no, and teams up with Crowley, the king of hell, a demon, who is considered an abomination in heaven, to try and gain souls from purgatory and gain power in order to take control of heaven. In the process of that, he completely misses out on how much evil he is actually doing. He's betraying Sam and Dean. He's working with monsters. He's bringing forth things that should not be walking the earth. And that is because he's totally convinced he's doing the right thing. Those are my favorite types of arcs in stories, is when heroes who you have seen grow and develop become so convinced that they have to take power at all costs in order to do the right thing. The means justify the ends. But in reality, what he's missing, and what I will eventually talk about in my Randall Thor examination, he misses that while he's convinced he's doing the right thing, he tragically believes that he has to take all this power to do the right thing and sacrifice so much of what he's learned in the process. And those stories, while they are dark, they're tragic, they're compelling, they're interesting, they're nuanced, they're deep. And it makes you think, would a hero do that in real life? Would a hero do that if he was in the situations where he's wearing a crown that weighs on him so heavily? And so that's why I really enjoy Castiel's villain arc. He does get redeemed. Spoiler. He goes on a multi-season redemption arc. And ultimately, after learning all of this and becoming remorseful, becoming a pacifist, becoming kind and caring again, and understanding to his friends, he becomes Jack Klein's adopted father and makes incredible sacrifices for Jack. He sees what Jack can become, not what he was born to be. Jack is the son of Lucifer, after all. He's sired by an evil archangel. So, for crying out loud, nature versus nurture debate is huge on this show. But Castiel sees that opportunity to teach Jack how to be good. And that is my third favorite arc of his on the show. Reasons for that are primarily because I love Jack. Jack's character is fascinating. I wish we got more of him. I wish his storyline had been better fleshed out in the last season. But Cass's affection for Jack leads him to be what an angel should have been on the show in the beginning. All right, so in the end, I think Castiel is a phenomenal character. Even though I have my qualms with him, I don't like the way his arc ended in the final season. That's a topic I'm not even going to get started on. But in the end, he is a worthy character. And I think he made a great addition to the Supernatural family and the Team Free Will. 1.0, 2.0, 3.0, how many ever versions of Team Free Will there were. He has a lot of them. In the end, Castiel is a really, really good character. He's great. And that's why I give him an 8.5 out of 10 overall. If this was a tier ranking video, he'd probably be in B or A tier. He'd be like a B or a B plus character for me. That being said, thanks for tuning in. I'm going to head back to the bunker. If you haven't done it already, like and subscribe. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. And there are more character examinations to come. I'm just getting started. So, love you guys. Peace.